Have you ever wondered what would happen if you trained just one side? Well, no one's ever tested it before, so I thought I'd try it for 90 days. You'd think training just one side would be a bad thing, right? Turn me into some kind of lopsided creature. Well, after 90 days of just training my left arm, I discovered something you wouldn't believe. Now, before I go into the specifics, I need to tell you that I didn't just train one side for the sake of it. I was competing in my first gymnastics competition at Loughborough University, and I'd done a lot of training leading up to the competition. I was feeling pretty nervous, particularly about the floor work, because gymnastics is all about rhythm, and I literally have no rhythm. And just my luck, I happened to be the first person doing the first routine of the day. Things started off pretty well with the muscle up and the L-sit hold. But then, as I lowered myself into the back lever, I heard something in my arm rip. I was literally in shock. James even heard the sound of it and ran over. After the injury, I was rushed to hospital where they told me the bad news. I'd ruptured my distal bicep tendon, basically the tendon that attaches the bicep to the forearm, which meant my bicep ripped off and went all the way up to my shoulder. But determined not to let the injury get to me, I decided to go to the gym. But unlike what most normal people would do, I decided to train just one side. I did some research and found out that training one side might actually have some benefits. If anything, training one side would help me mentally, and even though I got some funny looks, I kept doing it anyway. Being a really serious injury, with a tendon rupture you have to have surgery right away. And only 5 days after the injury, I got a call saying I had it later that day. I was feeling so nervous, but after a few hours the surgery was done. I was immobilised in a cast and told not to exercise to give the arm time to heal. As if I was going to follow the doctor's advice, I went down the gym the next day for a tough leg session. I didn't want to risk moving my upper body for a few days, but I trained legs and abs, which felt great. And it was even more frustrating because it was the start of exam season, and injuring my right arm being right-handed meant I couldn't even do things like put my socks on. But I tried to use my right arm as much as possible, even though it was immobilised. And I couldn't stop thinking about what I'd discovered earlier on, so I kept training my left side. After a few more weeks, the doctors removed the soft cast and put me in an Ossa brace. The aim of an Ossa brace is to gradually increase elbow extension range of motion. Unfortunately, with the Ossa brace, I still couldn't train the injured side because of the limited movement. But it did give me slightly more freedom, and I could do simple things like brushing my teeth. I definitely got some funny looks wearing the Ossa brace, and training was getting so demotivating because I was getting weaker every session. James was so helpful along my journey, but sometimes it was difficult training together. I watched him progress with every session whilst I got progressively worse and worse, and I was constantly stuck with that fear in the back of my mind. Would I re-rupture my bicep tendon if I progressed things too quickly? But I knew that training one side had its benefit, and I was determined to get back to where I was. Over time, I started to build a really strong mind-to-muscle connection in that left side, and being injured was actually a really good learning curve. It really taught me to focus on form and technique, because I didn't want to get injured. And the best part about it was that I started to notice slight improvements in my physique, even though I was wearing the cast. After 45 days, it was finally time to take the cast off, and I couldn't believe the results. I was completely shocked at what happened. My arm shrunk from 16 inches to 12, a 4-inch difference in just 45 days. It was fascinating because it showed me the effects of stopping training, even for the smallest amount of time. With only 45 days to go, it was now time to rebuild the muscle I'd lost on the injured side.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky.
After just 1 week of moving the injured side, it grew back from 12 to the original 16 inches. And you might be wondering, what's the secret? Well, it's called cross-education. Studies show that training the non-injured side is scientifically proven to cross-transfer over to the injured side. So training one side actually helped with my recovery.